Today we've got Lewis Anderson here from Dazzly, and he's going to be talking to us about how to talk and write about your business. So this is an important skill, and sometimes we can be a bit shy here in New Zealand, or maybe it's just not our forte. Maybe writing and talking about our business is not something we've done in the past, and so we're going to upskill today, and I'm looking forward to it. Lewis is an expert in this area, and we're very fortunate to have him on. Now, just a reminder, if you're tuning in with us on various platforms, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or here with us on Zoom, please drop your questions into the comment section, the chat function, or the Q&A function throughout the session. Get your questions answered. Lewis is happy to answer them, aren't you, Lewis? Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Anna Murray. I think there's a great introduction and very apt. I think people do struggle in this area, whether they're a new business or one that's been trading for many years.
Yeah, I think that, it's one thing to just kind of have a casual conversation about yourself and what you did over the weekend. But a lot of times people feel really intimidated by talking about their business. Maybe they don't have the confidence as well to talk about it, or maybe they don't feel as confident in their writing skills or know the right kind of language, the tone or register to use when talking about their business. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, great. I think, I just want to start by saying, thanks so much, Anna Murray, for having me here today. And just as a fellow business owner, it's quite hard for me to articulate my passion about this topic without actually, I really need to draw on personal experiences from my experience in business. And it will be a little bit personal at times. Before we do jump into it all though, I really just wanted to say, thanks again to Digital Boost. I think it's an absolutely great initiative. I would really encourage everyone who's watching here on the live stream, or if you're viewing it post live, to after this talk, of course, jump back into Digital Boost, take advantage of all these great talks. We have so many quality private service providers here in New Zealand, and I think it's a really great opportunity for everyone to upskill their business. And there's many talks and topics that'll be complementary to this one as well.
Yeah. I'm going to drop off. I'm going to let you drive.
Sure.
So yeah, perfect.
That's good. I will share the screen. Please let me know if there is any issue on that. Does that look okay, Anna Murray?
Perfect.
Great. Okay, so we'll jump into it. I guess just first of all, again, thanks to Digital Boost. Secondly, just if you do watch till the end of the talk, you will note that there is an 0800 number available, also a support email. Obviously, regardless of whether you're looking to get a website or not, we would encourage any business owner that is having a particular issue in this area to give our support line a call. I will make myself available, as well as many of our friendly staff, to take any questions that you have or to discuss your situation one-on-one if it's something you prefer to do rather than the Q&A here. But without further ado, we'll jump in, and I do look forward to your questions at the Q&A at the end as well. So a little bit about my background. Why should you listen to me? I've got 8+ years in the business of custom website, custom mobile app and software development. I've worked with all sizes of businesses in just about all industries. Spent a lot of time forming a genuine understanding of our clients' businesses. Also, I think I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned to correct them. And I think through that, I've learned to generate business for my own business as well as the business of my clients. A little bit more about the background. I think it really is important that you are genuinely interested in your customer's business, spending time in their business and learning about their business. For us, that's really important at custom websites and as well at Dazzly too. I spent a lot of time each week talking with business owners about how to articulate and convey their desired message to their desired customer. And sometimes we're still even figuring out who that customer is. So whether it's writing newsletters or website content or really any type of marketing material, work with businesses of all sizes. So I'm really confident would be interested to hear about your particular concerns as well. Another thing is, don't panic. I think that it is very okay to be uncomfortable talking and writing about your business. When myself and my business partner first incorporated our first company, Custom Websites, in 2013, I previously only worked in technical positions, researcher, a bit of accounting background. So I really did not know the first thing about selling or how to talk and write about my business. So I guess what I'm saying is don't worry if you're feeling some of the stress, some of the anxieties around this issue. It is something that you can overcome. It's very natural, and as business owners, we are problem solvers for in our own business and in the business of our clients. So I just want to encourage you that this is something that you can overcome. It is something you will have to overcome for your business, and it's something that I'm confident you can overcome. So a bit of structure to the talk. The proposition today, because there are a lot of ideas here, and some of which I hope you go away and think about how they apply to your own business. But I guess the general structure here is that by having an effective way to write and talk about your business via a medium, in this case, a cold call script or an elevator pitch for talking, and in the case of writing, a website, obviously with some visual aid as well, and that will help you create a quality first brand impression. So I'm going to start by asking some fundamental questions, questions that you should take time to reflect upon and think about for your own business. Next, we're going to dive into a cold calling script that has helped myself and my team in the previous business acquire many customers. And we're going to really focus and drill into the hardest part, which is that first introduction, those crucial first seconds. And then we're going to run through some example websites and some example content just to discuss how text and writing can be advantageous to convey the right message to the right customer. We'll touch on some fundamentals again, we'll do a recap and then to Q&A. So when do we need to write and talk about our businesses? Essentially, we need to write and talk about our businesses any time that we represent our brand. So while there are a number of things here, emails, marketing material, page content and articles for websites, networking events in person, or in these days perhaps a bit more digitally, your newsletters, whether it's print or digital, product information sheets, your reception area takeaways, cold calling scripts, mission statements. There are so many opportunities for us to communicate our value proposition of the business, and these are just some of them. In this talk, we're going to again be focusing primarily on cold calling / elevator pitch and websites. So again, the proposition, quality website and a quality cold call or elevator pitch will lead to a quality brand representation for your business, online and offline, text and voice. And really this professional representation need only really take a good investment of your time. It need not cost the world. So especially in your first years of business, referring to the great resources here at Digital Boost, referring to this talk and putting in your own time and effort will pay dividends in the long run as opposed to outsourcing. So again, whether you are a product-based businesses, whether you're a service-based business, whether you're business to business, whether you sell to residential consumers, I think the ideas expressed in this presentation will be valid regardless. We consult clients in every configuration of the above. And I think the truth is that while the advice and the ideas are valid across all of these, the way that you would implement them and actually go about doing them and attaining leads and ultimately customers is very different. So for example, if you're a product-based business and you wish to get your product placed on a very large supermarket shelf, the way that you would go about doing that would be very different than acquiring a customer in another area. For example, perhaps an in-person, very short, concise infomercial style presentation where you directly convey the value proposition to the target customer, and then of course show them why your product is better than those that are currently on the shelf. Another example, product-based example, would be if you were selling a flooring solution, an innovative way of doing that. Perhaps you want it to be specified by architects in an architectural firm. You could have a very nicely designed box made up. You could place a piece of your flooring solution into that box and have it personally signed, courier delivered to the lead decision maker in a number of architectural firms in your local area. Of course, you would follow that up with a call to turn them into a lead and ideally a prospect. By having them receive that piece of flooring feel it, feel the fitness, feel the quality of the product, it will make a much greater first impression, a much more effective way of bringing to the table and discussing subsequent business. So you have to be a little bit innovative about the way you go about these things as well, but fundamentally the ideas are all the same. So one question you should ask yourself, excuse the lack of question mark, is what is my business? So it might just be you might not have a brand yet, you might not even have customers yet. This is a situation that people find themselves in when they first start a business. And there's many different things to think about, but one thing that I really think is time-tested advice is that if you are a sole trader or you're a service provider and it is just you, I would really recommend that in the short term, just to make your life easier and things much more straightforward, that you sell yourself, your story, your personal qualities as the brand, and talk about that rather than a larger business. You need to build a fact-based, genuine story based off your life and your dedication to being a quality professional service provider. This will be a much more straightforward way to give you a value proposition to new customers in the earliest years of your business. And you don't have customers yet. It's not really the focus of this talk, but just a small tip would be, offer a free trial service in exchange for a testimonial and attempt to convert it to a paid customer down the track. Who is my customer? So again, you're in your first year of business. It's very tempting to say anyone. We're struggling. We would really like any work. And I think you really, really have to try and avoid this. The way that you position yourself, and that's by putting across your first impression, the way you talk, the way you write about your business, it really means everything. And it's in addition to the visual first impression as well. And I think it really means a lot about how people will perceive your business. So just again, there are some other great talks on Digital Boost about this, but just a very quick summary. Things to look for and what is a better or a more desirable customer would be that they know they have a problem and there's an urgency to solve it. They know the problem causes them pain. They recognize the pain. They ask good questions and they seem interested to understand more about your service. They're seeking quality professional service provider and to look for a relationship as opposed to just a one-off job. And that while they will care about the price, you'll find with the most desirable customers that it's a fourth or fifth tier consideration and that the other aforementioned factors are far more important. As opposed to a less desirable customer where, for example, they will want to know the price before even actually understanding the product or the service being offered. They'll generally not listen or take on board any information about differentiating factors of that product and service and what makes you different. Generally speaking, they only seek out the cheapest option and they're extremely reluctant to cover the cost of any uncertainties or costs incurred as a result of the job. And I can just take a point to say here, if any of these things under the less desirable customer sound familiar to you, please reevaluate, your relationship with these customers. In the long term, I've found that customers that have these sorts of traits are generally less profitable customers in the long term. They'll slow down your ability to scale your business, and in some cases, they can even bring them around down, which is no good at all. I just want to say that if you're here on a Friday morning trying to better yourself, trying to upskill and trying to improve your business, then you really deserve to have great customers. And I think that, you should really be careful when you prospect your customers, and then you can have great business relationships, which last a very long time. And of course, good customers have the intrinsic value of giving referrals to other good customers. So what do customers actually care about? So it's really important that you write in terms that the customer understands, not from your technical perspective or from your perspective necessarily as a business owner. If jargon or colloquialisms that the customers use are technically incorrect, but they use them, in a lot of cases, it's better just to be relatable and for you to use them to an appropriate degree. I think that if you're finding it difficult to relate to your customer, there's a resource at the end that I'm going to refer to. There's a particular book, you're probably familiar with it, but it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. There are a number of suggestions in this book such as helping the prospect with a problem, sending them something interesting to read, or naturally, you can send them periodically examples of results you've delivered for comparable businesses. I guess in my case, this quite a number of years back, would cold call building company owners and people in the construction industry, and I would very quickly and very swiftly be rejected, and they weren't interested in what I had to offer. And I had a close friend who was a builder. I sat down and talked with him, and thought, well, there seems to be a booming industry and they have the money. I'm not understanding why they're not interested in getting more jobs. So as the story goes, I reached out to a construction business owner. I offered to work entirely for free for them for the day on site with their guys and girls, and learned a lot about building. Also learned quite a lot about the business of building in just a very short amount of time. So I think it's really important that you talk to people in the business. So the people at the top, but if not more importantly, the people actually implementing the work on the ground at the coalface as well, because there is so much value and knowledge and things that the customers actually care about that can be learned and understood from talking with everyone at all levels in the organization. In our case, it was good stuff. It was character building, and I learned a lot. So for example, builders in Auckland, they don't need a website to get work. There's tons of work. But quality builders need a quality website to showcase their work. Why? Because they're quality builders, and showing excellent photos reflect that. Can they charge more for their work as a result? Absolutely. Does it look good on government tenders for medium to larger providers? Yes. Do they like to show off their websites and their projects to other business owners that they partner with? Yes. Do they want to represent themselves as distinguished professionals amongst a field of cowboys? Yes. Builder owners care about building. And if you learn a little about building fundamentally, or whatever industry it is you're targeting, you show the respect to them, their knowledge, their craft, and the things they care about. It will open a lot more doors for you than just repeating a particular approach. It's really, really important to have a genuine interest in understanding the business of the customer that you wish to solve problems for. It's very, very important to position yourself as an expert in the service you provide for a given industry. Again, this applies to products as well. You just have to appeal to different values or customer demographics. We've won more clients taking this approach than any other approach. To be relatable to them, we bought high visors, hard hats, the boots. We want to muddy them up a bit, and made sure that we visited work sites constantly. And this really reflected in how we interacted with the business owners and how we acquired customers and established ourselves over a number of years as a professional website provider to the construction industry. B2B and B2C have different considerations here, but I think it's really important that you just be innovative in how you go about finding the answers to those difficult questions. Why does this all matter? A good brand, good copy, and a good way of conveying your message as a professional service provider encourages repeat business from quality customers who value your service over the bill. The same actions visually and otherwise will also repel less desirable customers who will look at these things, and on the face of it, the beginning and the end of the consideration will be that it's probably going to be a highly priced service. And this is good because these are the customers that are the less desirable, and you may not want on your books anyway. But brand, visual, text, speech, it all matters. And so it's all very important. And I guess just a small point, perfection is uneconomical. So chances are you simply don't have the economic resources to achieve 100% perfection in all of your content. I think it's very important to remember that, generally speaking, when you're putting something out there in your marketing material, it's not a contract that they sign on the dotted line. It's a representation of your business, and then subsequent consulting can get to the particulars of what you will offer. I think it's really important that you focus on producing quality content that your customers want to read, and that other people that can refer you customers will want to read. This is the most important point, as opposed to making sure it's as perfect as the Mona Lisa. So let's jump in on the talking side to a cold calling and elevator pitch. So just before we do, I had this problem myself, being from a technical background, and many of the business owners do, whether you're from a technical background or not. But it is really important that if you are from a technical background and you're a business owner, you must learn how to sell. You must not be afraid to put yourself out there and be a little bit more aggressive, or better word, assertive. You won't offend people if you're respectful of their position and their time, and if you genuinely believe that your product and service adds value to their business. If you genuinely believe and you genuinely know that, then you are doing a service by reaching out and contacting them. Tens of thousands of cold calls. I can assure you that the number of people that I have offended, I can count on one hand, and these people were not from the most desirable, the customers regardless. I think at the end of the day, the vast majority of business owners, from sole traders through to very large multinational companies, they understand that if you respect for their time and you're a quality business provider looking to make a partnership, will be interested to hear you out, and they will appreciate it as well. So let's actually jump into a pitch. So what's really important is that you have a clear, concise, either elevator pitch or cold calling script that really conveys the value proposition of your business in about 30 seconds. You need to be professional and respectful, and hopefully this is useful and interesting to you. So in the first business, again, custom websites, when we do cold calls, as the business owner, I would typically start the conversations. Of course, we'll go through the receptionist and the gatekeeper respectfully, and when I'm passed to the business owner, I would, on the phone, for example, say, "Hi, my name is Lewis. Have I caught you at a good moment?" Because of course, the customers are always run off their feet. They're not just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, the good ones anyway, waiting for your call. So you must be respectful of their time. I can see you've been in business for over 26 years, because of course I have researched them prior to calling. I've been looking over your website, and while I like the fact that you've got a lot of variety in your engineering projects and a lot of photos, I really feel that overall the website doesn't represent your business. Just challenge yourself, and generally they're not used to that, especially like Anna Murray referred to, the Kiwis can have quite a passive approach towards these things. So we'll give a quick pause, because of course they may want to interject and they shouldn't feel too pressured, but in my experience, generally they won't. Currently, the photos are difficult to view and the website doesn't work on mobile devices. I started my own business 4 years ago. We help Auckland businesses with their websites. We correctly represent businesses with a strong visual appeal and build a long-term marketing asset as your website business partner. If there is a convenient time for you this week, would I be able to visit your office and learn more about your engineering operations? It's very straight to the point. It gets right to the moment where you're attempting now to get an appointment for a sales presentation in their business. Now, chances are you'd be surprised that a decent number of people will give you that sales appointment. However, of course, the majority will object, and it's important that you hear their objections, because to understand the objections to your sales pitch, and then to understand how to alleviate these objections and obviously overcome them, it is very important, learning how to win business. So if you can be brave enough and get this far, you will learn so much about how potential customers will view your service in your initial introduction. Now, that's a little bit on cold calling. So where can I find content? I hope there's some questions on that later as well, so we can go a little bit further. But where can I find content? Where can I find these interesting things that my customers and referral businesses would be interested to read about? Well, in my experience, visiting hundreds of businesses, would be that the best content comes from the coalface. So speak with the workers that are actually implementing the work. Speak with the receptionists, speak with the end customers if you can. Whether it's marketing a new product, how did this oven work for Dave, or whether it's representing your staff, your size, and your internal capabilities, it's really important to get input from all people at all different levels. And there's a great reference on this at the end as well in the book. Ogilvy on advertising, which I'll put at the end. There is a great reference for how to go about doing this. So just a very, very clear example from the software business. If we release a new version of the software, it might interest some people to know that it's version 1.5, but what they're probably far more interested to know is that now, as a result of this, their business can accept lay-by payments, for example. So sticking to the theme, we'll jump back to websites. So it is more in line with the theme, choosing websites over another medium. Also, it will allow, from the other great material, Digital Boost, it will hopefully be complementary to that. and hope you find it interesting. So to determine what pages, or what we might call the content structure of a website, it's really important to ask businesses questions, because that's how we're going to get the best tailored approach. So some questions that I would look to ask businesses when I come in and do a consultation would be, do you provide products or services or both? Who are your customers, and what do they value? What's your service area? Where do your customers live? Why do people choose your business over the competition? How large is your team? What are your goals and objectives? And what message do you really wish you could convey to your customers? So questions like these are very open questions, and they're quite thought-provoking. They're not easy to answer, nor should they be. They're questions that require a decent amount of consideration and thought. And you'll find that you really draw a lot of interesting information from business owners and their experience when they start to consider these things. So I will walk through for a better word, skeleton website structure for, again, a service-based business. Again, no two websites should be the same, but this is a general structure that people use to successfully convey messages to their customers through the website. So we'll just jump into it. This is Ariki Plumbing. So as you can see with Ariki Plumbing, we've got a very concise but strong welcome message displayed visually as soon as you land on the website. You have that strong visual background, again emphasising the local service area, and of course there's a great call to action right there, prompting customers to contact. As you'll all be aware, in many cases, customers that are seeking a local service provider will simply make a call upon landing on the website, especially if it's something such as the nature of home plumbing and maintenance, in which case the calls could be particularly urgent. You'll also note, if you were to scroll down further, that there's many testimonials having that social proof in your writing from your customers there, as well as a general contact form so the customers can immediately get in touch. You really want things to be non-arduous and how customers interact with your marketing. It needs to be easy, and it needs to feel right, because that is what's backing up the hard work and professional service that you're doing every day. You want that to reflect right through your branding. This is LaserStream. They're a great business in Auckland. It's an example of a about page. So what I would suggest, being applicable to your business, an extensive history of the business, photos of every staff member with the title, direct contact details, and a bio. Now, if you have just started your business, that can be a history about yourself, your qualifications, your past work, what sets you up to be the preferred service provider for your customer. Any list of awards or memberships or associations. Of course, they can be great networking opportunities for people in their first year of business. And any team photos, anything that will reflect the company values, sustainability, great corporate culture, whatever it happens to be, this is the page for that. Next, we'll just look at an example of a service-focused page, in this case, renovations. You will note that we have some very straightforward terms here, talking and using the words that the customers themselves would use. Of course, there is SEO or search engine ranking benefit from doing this as well. Again, I'm not going to touch on that because there are so many quality tools on SEO here at Digital Boost already. But as you can see, appealing to the previous ideas, we have straightforward text that the customers understand. It's not arduous. We have nice quality images, which ensures we're attracting or appealing to the most desirable type of customer. Next, you'll see good use of a gallery in a similar industry context. If it's applicable and you have visual work, that's great to show in your business. It's really good to show customer outcomes where at all possible. And sometimes, of course, the gallery can be used for demonstrating different things. For example, we have a health provider in Rotorua that mainly uses the gallery just to portray the values and even local imagery. At the end of the day, by understanding your customer and what they're looking for, and then also your sales process, you can tailor these elements to really convey the message of the business, whatever it may be. In the case of this is Paramount Plaster and Paint, they operate on the North Shore. You can see here that they are appealing to the residential homeowner, and they're explaining through imagery that they can do anything from simple fence painting to painting the entire interior of your home. Testimonials, again, won't delve on this too much. It's just great social proof to back it up. If you have a testimonials page, if you don't, you really need to get one, and you need to collect testimonials, because social proof is a great proof of the quality of your business. Next, we have a article section. So this is from NB Electrical, a really solid bloke in Lockhouse Bay and a great electrician. So Nick has really done well to establish his local presence. He has a reputation now for producing some decent quality content. Some here on the website, a lot of it's actually out on other channels as well. But again, that was started as a seed from just understanding some of these basic concepts and then going out and implementing himself. He's able to establish himself as a knowledge sharing expert in his local community. Contact page, won't touch on that too much either. Another great company from Auckland as an example, but really the most important thing is to show the locality if it's relevant to your business with the map, to have the most basic of contact details there, and to have a contact form that makes it not very arduous to get in touch. Right, so reiterating some of the main points, excuse me, just doing that, reiterating the main points. So be open-minded about your content, your audience, and what they might find interesting, and be brave as well. Be more flexible with what you publish to each channel. Casual Facebook posts are a lot more casual than a key LinkedIn post for the year. Don't be afraid to tackle it. Write about what your customers value and are interested in. Develop a professional cold calling script or an elevator pitch, and don't be afraid to try it. At the end of the day, if you reach out and sincerely show an interest in potential customers' business, I mean, even back in the days, I would call potential customers and say, I just want to know what's the biggest problem in your business right now. Tell me the most important problem in your business. You will learn so much just by showing a genuine interest and asking questions of these business owners. And generally speaking, if you're respectful of their time, they'll be more than happy to answer them. Develop a professional website that represents your business and values. Again, obviously you can jump on Dazzly. There are other great local website builders here that you can use to develop something for yourself without having to make a great financial investment in the first year of your business. Make an investment in your own time, effort, and knowledge, and develop those skills yourself. Even if you do outsourcing down the track, having done this yourself in the early years will benefit you and will really pay dividends. Win desirable customers, from showing a genuine interest in your client's business through to implementing those good practices on the other side. You will win desirable customers and ask for referrals if you're not getting them, because if you do a great job for someone, they're always happy to refer to another business owner, so you can do a great job for them as well. And something that I really, really want to drive home is that if you do happen to fall into a similar category that I fell into all those years ago, and you are a service provider and you are in your first year of business, I really believe, based off my experience, that it's extremely important that you position yourself as the expert service provider for what you do for a particular customer. In my case, high quality website design and consulting for the construction industry. I cannot reiterate how important that is. It's New Zealand. Word of mouth is key here. Even though we're talking digital, word of mouth will always be, in many industries, the biggest driver of your business. And if you establish yourself as the reliable expert in your service area, in your service line for a particular customer, that will pay so much dividends down the track. It really, really will. If you go in and put in those hard yards, it will pay dividends in the referral and the repeat business that you will get in subsequent years. So again, the proposition is how to write and talk about your business, but the example of this is that a quality website and a quality cold calling script or elevator pitch will result in quality brand representation. Online, offline, text and voice. Again, I just want to say you can have this professional representation in your first year of business without a very large sunk financial cost up front. Some recommended reading very quickly. If you're perhaps just looking for some extra stuff and wondering, these books were very helpful for me personally, so I hope they'll be helpful for you too. They're all industry classics, none of them are new. You probably recognize some of these titles. They're age-old advice that survive the test of time. In my first year of business, we could have never afforded a full Marcom strategy and marketing consultant, but I could afford a hard copy of these books, and I still have a hard copy of these books today. I even give them, not my copy, but we as gifts to clients, because I think they convey so much value to business owners in the particular area that you're looking for. For example, the overview on advertising is great for general writing, marketing, and copy. The how to influence and influence people is excellent for consulting, appointment setting, and sales presentation, amongst many other things. And the third book by Brian Tracy is really good for your sales presentation and for contract closing. Now, not everything in all of these books is going to be relevant to your business, but the point is that you make the time and the investment to read them, and you take the nuggets out of them that are good for you, and then you learn by implementing them in your business. So yeah, just want to say thanks again and really open the floor for any questions, and also just to say that I'll be available over the next couple of hours along with some of our friendly staff. If you would rather give us a call on the line, if we can't take the call right away, we'll come back to you. But we're more than happy to discuss your specific situation and give you a little bit more tailored advice. I know this was a little bit more biased towards service providers as opposed to product-based businesses. But again, regardless whether you're looking for a website or not, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We'd be really happy to chat about your specific situation and answer any questions that you have. For Dazzly there. Again, if you are, when you're on Digital Boost, you're looking at other talks and things like that as well, and obviously in reference to this presentation, if there's any topics or concepts or things you want to test, you can always sign up for a free trial account and just test them on a website that you can make in your home or office very easily. We have New Zealanders from all over the country using our service every day. You don't have to commit to anything. You can just jump on and give it a try and practice some of these principles. And then when you are ready to make it come up, you can look in the market at the quality providers that are around. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. And I'd be really interested to hear any questions if anyone has them, or take any on the phone afterwards.
Louis, you're a star. This session has been so good, honestly.
Thank you.
And you know what? Like, we always talk about digital, and we're very digitally oriented here, which is of course what you covered. But I love the fact that you recommended some reading, because we learn differently reading than we do, watching. So I think that's a really valuable, that's some really valuable advice that you've passed on there for folks. And I know that we're coming up to this holiday season, and oftentimes people have the opportunity to step away from the computer for a few days or pop yourself in the sun and have a bit of a read. And so that's a really lovely suggestion for some holiday homework, we'll call it.
Yeah, that's very well put, Anna Marie. You're right. We do get a bit of time over the holidays, so obviously read something you'll enjoy personally as well. But hey, maybe put in one of these two in your reading list wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? We actually are going to be doing a whole bunch of sessions in-house with the team to, I'm just waffling on, people are typing. Good. This is good. I just give people a chance to type. But just as a reminder, we're actually going to do some in-house sessions the very last week of December from the 20th to the 24th on how to prep your business if you are closing down in between that period between Christmas and the New Year. What kind of things that you should do in your business to make sure that your customers are well taken care of if you are taking a break. Now, we've got two questions. One came through a little bit earlier from Lou, and it was, can they get a copy of these slides, please? Is that possible?
Absolutely. Please reach out to the supporting email. I'm happy to email them to you directly. There'll be some notes as well. Additionally, I'll supply a copy of this in various formats back to Digital Boost, so it can be made available via the platform. But no, please, I'm very happy to.
You're a star. Thank you so much. So, and then would you recommend consulting business to do a cold calling too?
Sorry, just so I understand, it's someone with a consulting business and you're considering using cold calling to generate business. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't recommend it more. If you'd like to give some more context to your business or your service area, I'd be happy to
like what kind of consulting do you do?
But I mean, any consulting, I can't immediately think of an example where direct sales via cold calling wouldn't be beneficial. The only thing that comes to mind is perhaps something, for example, there are some property valuers in the market that are contractually, there are certain business situations where you wouldn't be looking to cold call people in industry, but putting those to aside, generally speaking, if you're a consultant or doing consulting, I couldn't imagine a case where generally it wouldn't be beneficial. And again, please don't hesitate to call the 0800 number if you'd like to talk specifics one-on-one. I'm more than happy to have that conversation.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I'm just checking. I know that I look like I'm looking all around. It's because I have to actually go to each platform to check for questions.
Oh, sure. No, great.
So that's why I'm like, oh. Okay, so another question here. If you're wanting to find new work and have never had any work in that area, i.e. kitchens, okay, I haven't had any work in kitchens either, Dean. So could you use stock purchase photo or wait to get work and use those photos?
Yeah, it's a great question. So from a technical point of view, there's some SEO things that come to mind, but I won't dwell on that too much. So it's a good question. One thing I would say is that it's a case dependent thing. That if you may have not done work in kitchens before under your business and brand, but if you previously under another company, have been a significant contributor to a kitchen or a bathroom renovation, and you have a good relationship with your previous employer, it may be the case that they will let you use some of those images to represent the work you can do, rather than saying, I did the specific one under my business. You always want to be transparent and straightforward, but nonetheless, that those photos could be and are genuine representations of the quality of the work you can produce. So in some cases, you can use that, with a good agreement and understanding with your previous employer. Where that isn't the case, yes, you can use stock images to make your initial website. There are some technical disadvantages to doing this, but again, I would really just focus on the positives, on stepping ahead, establishing that reputation. So my advice would be, yes, use stock if you don't have another viable alternative, if you can't take your phone out with past colleagues or with something like that to produce something that does represent your business. Again, don't want to dwell on SEO too much, but an actual photo captured from a mobile phone with GPS enabled of a job in a local area will be really valued by the modern search engines, because all of that information, including what's embedded in the photograph, will be taken into account in your rankings. So I think that there is a lot of value if you are able to go out there with your mobile phone. And trust me, when I first started my business, I'm not the best photographer now, but I'm a lot better than when I started. And you can get better too. And then there's some of us that are actually already really good at taking photos of our phones. But the truth is that if you can do that and get genuine imagery, it will be better. But most importantly, just getting a website online that represents your business, getting that basic script down. So if you choose to pursue cold calling and direct sales, getting that basic script down and having something there as opposed to nothing is going to do far better for you, especially early on.
Can I jump in there, Lewis, and just
please.
let folks know that now this is a ways off. I plan ahead. So
Okay.
on the 26th of January.
I'm making notes.
Stay with me. On the 26th of January, we are going to do a whole session on imagery, where you can get free images from, how you can use them. It's going to be done with some of our experts here at Digital Boost. So the importance of images and how to get free images and digital tools for that. So that's going to be a session we're going to run on the 26th of Jan. So if I know it's off in the distance, but we do recognize that a lot of folks don't have those images that you're talking about. Obviously, the best is, as you accumulate that portfolio, those that library of images, it's really great. But until you have that, it is nice to know some tools that you can use to find some free images that can help you along the way. So join us for that session next year, 2022.
Yeah, I really encourage people to join for that. In addition to writing and text, and this is a slide I was going to put in, but didn't make it in. In addition to writing and text, the visual images, if not equally, then the equal most common factors that delay website projects coming online. people can be very perfectionist about the writing and things like that, but and getting it just right. But there are other clients that can be particularly that way about the images too. No, I understand that completely. But it's again that sort of cost and trade-off between perfection and not having something online. So I think, that is a very important topic, equally as important as this, and I would definitely encourage people to check that out. Just a second thing on that point as well is that if you, as a little bit of a plug, but we do obviously understand that images are really important, and I know there will be good options for alternative providers too, but if you do go through Dazzly, we have something a little bit unique. We have a built-in stock image library. We're integrated with various providers so you can get those images. And in addition to that, we have a specially curated New Zealand stock image library, which has been taken by our team around the country, taking photos at various places. So no matter where you are in the country, especially now with lockdowns as well, if you can't get out and take that photo, like you would have seen the Riki example of Mount Taranaki, you can use images from our stock library, at least in the first instance. I would suggest you replace them with unique ones down the track, but in the first instance, you can use those to get them. And we have some quite rural locations covered. So please check it out and put your town in there. And if we haven't been to your town yet,
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool, Lewis, because that is one of the things that a lot of big providers say, that are international. They often don't have those images of New Zealand. And, we want to be to showcase this gorgeous country and often where you are. And it can be, a lot of people like to buy local, like to buy in country as well. It's really important to a lot of folks. So that's a really good point. And what a lovely little addition to your platform that you have. Now, we did have coming back to that question, would you recommend consulting businesses to do cold calling? The consulting business is cultural business management, /business management.
Okay. So that's an interesting case. So again, going back to sort of questions at the start would be, and again, so I'm not sure if you have or haven't done work in the industry before, but it would be looking at who is your target customer. Is this something that you'd be targeting? My presumption would be private organisations of a particular size, where they'd be in a position to make an investment in that. I've known, because I understand there'll be an investment in your time. And then additionally, you're probably looking towards government providers, other NGOs potentially as your customer. So I think when you start to ask that question, you start to get closer to the answer of, are these organisations where perhaps through LinkedIn is the first step, or perhaps I can get hold of a receptionist and ask who is the best person in your organisation to talk to about cultural workplace management, and then sort of you get that understanding of who the decision maker is in the organisation, and I guess for a better word, how reachable they are, and then I guess from that you can determine whether cold calling might be your best approach, or whether you might be better with a cold email, introducing them to a meeting, inviting them to a meeting. Perhaps you might be better sending them an interesting piece of research that you've read in your industry and say, hey, did you happen to read this? I know this is your responsibility, and I'd be keen to have a conversation about this sometime. Just something to sort of kick off that process and turn them from a potential customer to a lead, just getting them down that initial sales funnel, for a better word. So I think that the answer to that question is naturally really depends on the context. But I think if in New Zealand, in my experience, I've cold called, to business owners of companies with hundreds of staff. Generally speaking, in New Zealand, business owners and decision makers can be reached via cold calling. Again, you've just got to go about it in a respectful and polite way. But my gut would tell me is that the cold calling would work for this. It'd just be a case of evaluating those questions, and again, really interested to talk that over. Yeah, but we do have customers in this area as well. Yeah.
I do think, Lewis, that you made a really good point earlier on being able to have your pitch in 30 seconds. Whether that's, I know from experience with Digital Boost, I contact a lot of big providers, a lot of providers that are international to try and get them on here. And even providers here in New Zealand, I've used chatbots to connect. Like, I haven't had a contact. I haven't been able to find one, I haven't been able to find a number to call. So, but what I did do was, over a series of trial and error, I devised the perfect set of words, statements to send out that they would go, wait a second, what is this? oh, I want to, and like think about the wording that will draw them in, make them excited about what you're doing. And I've had such great success with that, but it took a while to hone in on the right set of words. And that only came with doing enough times, doesn't it? Like you may,
So
you
true.
might.
It's so true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so true. I just another note that I'm not sure if it made it or not, but is that script will have come across as probably quite prompt, like some people may call it slightly aggressive. I prefer to use the word assertive. The truth is that just like in your case, Anna Murray, it's a script that was developed over trial and error and frankly over a ton of rejection. It's the script that we developed that produced the best results. And we want to produce the best results because we want to help as many people as possible. So it's I think that it really is trial and error, but I think again that you don't it's not the script that we originally started with. Like I said, it's from a technical background. I didn't have the sales experience. I actually initially started with a much longer opening line and quickly found that to be not desirable at all. One of the first industries we called were mechanics. And I can assure you, they didn't have the time of day or the inclination to listen to things that were going to take them away from the workshop. So again, it's just these things from trial and error. You'll find out who your customer is, and you'll develop better scripts and better ways of converting them to a lead, or in your case, establishing a partnership with a quality digital provider.
Yeah, I don't like this has been really poignant in the way that you've laid this out. I think that, selling your business, sales is not a dirty word. It often seems like a dirty word. I feel like we've been conditioned that it's a dirty word. But in reality, your business has value. So let people know if you really feel like you could be of value to this organization or this customer, don't be afraid to approach them, because I mean, they're probably looking for that solution. So have some confidence in yourself. Yeah.
If your product or service genuinely adds value, business owners are looking for partners that add value. That's never not going to be true. And it's really important to sort of, as much as you can, work your way over those hesitations, and you have to do it for trial and error. But again, I can assure you, if you go about it in a respectful and polite way, that you will receive that same respect and politeness in return, particularly in I've always found residential to be good as well. So I don't want to say not in residential, because residential has been nice as well, but particularly in business to business, there's a sort of a good level of respect here, especially if you're showing it to.
You know what? I also wanted to add, when you mentioned LinkedIn and reaching out to people on LinkedIn, which is a really, if that's where the decision maker is for what you're trying to do, it's a really great resource. We actually did a session on outreach for LinkedIn with Stanley Henry, where he specifically talked about building leads through LinkedIn. I'm going to, before we jump off, because it looks like we're kind of out of questions, but I'm just going to grab the link to that session if you don't mind, Lewis.
No, please.
Because I think that would be really valuable for folks.
And I'm not a LinkedIn expert either, and there are some
and you don't have to be,
marketing companies. Yeah, I use it. Everyone needs to use it. It's crucial for partnerships, particularly in the software industry. But I think that I'm not an expert in that, but we have some really good experts in that here in New Zealand.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This is one of them.
And I think that there's an ethical, what we talked about basically in this session as well, was just being very ethical in the way that you're doing it, because sometimes there's a right way, and then there's like the wrong way to kind of do it on LinkedIn, and he talks a lot about how to build relationships on LinkedIn with folks. I'm just dropping that in the chat right now. Okay, cool. So it's there. It's LinkedIn outreach, generating ethical sales through the platform. So do check that out. Stanley Henry is very easy to listen to, and like yourself, and always gives like really concise and clear direction, like you do as well, Lewis. And so, I just want to thank you again for this session. I'm looking forward to more sessions. In the future.
No, I was really looking forward to some too. I'm glad that you, the same behavior I came across. I thought there were a lot of ideas there. It was perhaps a little less structured than the previous talks, but I've been looking forward to. But not to plug this again, but we have another upcoming talk on redefining profit. Business with Purpose, that I believe is the December the 6th or December the 8th. Sorry.
I can have a look.
Go ahead, Mara. Yeah.
And that's basically about, we're going to be talking about embedding purpose into your business, isn't it? Maybe it's the 8th of December.
Sorry, the 8th.
Finding profit, purpose-based businesses. So we know that lots of folks like to buy from purpose-based businesses. And an example of that would be Tom's shoes. If you buy a pair of Tom's shoes, a pair of shoes are donated or given to a child in need or a person in need. That's kind of a purpose-based business. So it will be a really good session. I'm looking forward to your insight on that.
Yeah, no, we've got some great customer stories. So it'll be certainly far less about me, that talk, and far more about some great customers that we have around the country that are doing amazing things. And I'm really looking forward to sharing their stories. And again, yeah, if you wish to talk one-on-one, we have some personal concerns, do not hesitate to call the 0800 number or email support. Doesn't matter if you're looking for a website or not, doesn't matter. Just keen to have a chat and help.
I know, you're so lovely. I'm so glad we got to have this on a Friday. It's a perfect way to end my week. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I hope you take care of yourself. Remember, if you are experiencing any mental health challenges due to the lockdowns or just the nature of the beast at this time of year, you have access through Digital Boost, being a registrant, to Clearhead, which is an app that helps with mental health. Do reach out to support at digitalboost.co.nz and we'll get you all set up and you can take advantage of that for free. It is totally free for Digital Boost members. So have a wonderful weekend. Thanks again, Lewis. And I'll see you on the 8th of December.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, Anna Murray. Really appreciate it. And yeah, again, thanks to Digital Boost. It's so great. I really encourage you all to get on and just consume as much as possible. And yeah, wish you all the best success in writing and talking about your business.
Ta kite, everyone. Thanks for the positive feedback, Dean. I see it there. And everyone on the other platforms that are just writing in, thank you.